When a woman says, "You're too old," most guys immediately feel a sting. It's like a verbal slap to the face, right? But here's the truth. What if I told you that this seemingly harsh statement could actually become your secret weapon in attracting her even more? Yeah, you heard that right. Instead of feeling defeated, you could flip the script and turn this age-related comment into a massive advantage. Sounds interesting? Well, stick around because that's exactly what I'm going to show you today. And hey, before we dive deep into this, let me ask you a quick question. If you've ever heard a woman tell you, "You're too old," drop a 1 in the comments. If you haven't, type 0. I want to see where my brothers are at. In today's video, I'm not just going to teach you what to say when she drops the age card. I'm going to show you how to respond in a way that spikes her attraction through the roof. We'll explore the common mistakes most guys make and how to avoid them. And I'll even give you a sneaky ninja mind trick at the end that could prevent this objection from popping up altogether. As the Stoics say, we cannot control what happens to us, but we can control how we respond. You might not change your age, but you can absolutely change how you handle it. So, if you're ready to take your dating game to the next level, let's get started. Now, before we get into the exact words you need to say when a woman hits you with the "you're too old" line, we need to talk about what not to do. This is critical because if you fall into any of these traps, you're essentially digging your own grave. You see, most guys make the same 3 fatal mistakes, and if you're not careful, just one of these missteps can instantly kill any attraction she might have had for you. But don't worry, once you understand these pitfalls, you'll not only avoid them, but also turn this tricky situation into a golden opportunity. The first fatal mistake most men make is becoming emotionally reactive. It's completely natural to feel a bit hurt or even defensive when someone points out your age. But showing that emotion? Big mistake. You might think that defending yourself or expressing how rude her comment was will earn you respect, but it actually does the opposite. When you react emotionally, whether that's getting upset, offended, or even sulking, you're showing her that she has control over your emotions. And if there's one thing you need to understand, it's this. Women are hardwired to be attracted to emotional stability. When you lose your cool, you lose your power. The Stoics had a perfect saying for this. The greater the difficulty, the more glory in overcoming it. So, when she challenges you with the age comment, see it as an opportunity to demonstrate unshakable composure. The second critical mistake is getting logical. A lot of men, in an effort to salvage the situation, start listing out reasons why their age is actually a good thing. You know the type. Older guys are more mature. We know how to treat a woman. Or I might be older, but I'm still young at heart. While all of this might be true, logic isn't what triggers attraction. Attraction is not a checklist of pros and cons. It's an emotional experience. When you start justifying yourself logically, you inadvertently place her on a pedestal. You're essentially saying, "You're the prize and I need to prove my worth to you." It's like going into a job interview and begging the employer to hire you. Not a good look. Instead, what you need to do is keep the frame that you are the prize. Remember, as Marcus Aurelius once said, the soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts. If your thoughts are of desperation and validation seeking, that's exactly what you'll project. The third fatal mistake is losing your composure and getting thrown off your game. Imagine this. She says, "You're too old," and suddenly you're at a loss for words. You stumble, your mind races, and an awkward silence fills the air. You might try to change the subject clumsily or offer a weak, unconvincing response. When this happens, you not only kill the vibe, but also signal insecurity. Women are incredibly perceptive. They pick up on those tiny shifts in energy. If you go from confident and relaxed to unsure and nervous, it's game over. The Stoics believed deeply in the power of preparation. Seneca said, "Luck is what happens when preparation meets opportunity." If you haven't mentally prepared yourself for this scenario, you're bound to get blindsided. What's important to understand is that when a woman brings up your age, it's often not even about the number. It's a test, whether she realizes it or not. She wants to see how you handle it, how confident you truly are. If you react poorly, you're essentially confirming her doubts. But if you remain calm, maybe even playful, you instantly set yourself apart from most guys who crumble under pressure. This is where you need to flip the switch from seeing her comment as an attack to viewing it as an opportunity. An opportunity to show her that age is just a number and confidence is timeless. By avoiding these three fatal mistakes, becoming emotionally reactive, getting logical, and losing your composure, you're already putting yourself miles ahead of the competition. The average guy would either get offended, try to argue his value logically, or freeze up entirely. But not you. You're going to handle it differently. You're going to transform this objection into attraction. And how exactly do you do that? Well, that's what we'll dive into next. Stick around, because the next part is where things get really interesting. Alright, now that you know exactly what not to do when a woman says, "You're too old," it's time to flip the script. You see, most guys see this comment as a roadblock, but in reality, it's a golden opportunity. When a woman brings up your age, what she's really doing is testing your confidence. She wants to see if you'll crumble or if you'll rise above it. And when you handle this right, not only do you pass her test, but you also skyrocket her attraction for you. So how do you do it? It all comes down to a simple three-step formula. Agree, exaggerate, and evaluate. Let's break each step down and show you how to turn this situation to your advantage. The first step is to agree. Now, this might sound counterintuitive. Why on earth would you agree with a woman who's basically telling you that you're too old for her? Well, think of it like martial arts, specifically judo. In judo, instead of resisting your opponent's force, you use their momentum against them. The same principle applies here. When she says, "You're too old," most guys would argue, defend themselves, or try to prove otherwise. But when you simply agree, you're not giving her anything to push against. You maintain your composure and you show her that her comment doesn't faze you. For example, if she says, "Aren't you a bit too old for me?" you could respond with a casual, "Yeah, I'm old, ancient, actually." By agreeing, you remain unreactive, and nothing is more attractive than a man who is unfazed by external judgments. But don't stop there. The magic really happens when you move to the second step. Exaggerate. This is where you take her comment and blow it out of proportion in a humorous way. When done right, it not only diffuses the tension, but also makes you come off as charming and witty. Imagine responding with, "Yeah, I'm so old I had lunch with Julius Caesar yesterday," or "I'm so old I need a walker to get to the bar." The key here is to make it playful. The exaggeration needs to be so over the top that it's clear you're joking. This kind of humor not only makes her laugh, but also demonstrates high social intelligence. It tells her that you're not taking yourself too seriously, which is a huge sign of confidence. And if there's one thing that women universally find attractive, it's confidence. The third and perhaps most powerful step is to evaluate. Now that you've agreed with her and made her laugh by exaggerating, it's time to flip the script entirely. You do this by turning the evaluation back onto her. What do I mean by that? Well, instead of trying to prove yourself to her, you make her prove herself to you. You transition from being the one who needs to qualify himself to being the one who evaluates her. You might say something like, "But hey, I'm not sure if you're mature enough for me. Can you even cook? What would you make me if you were trying to impress me?" Or maybe, "I usually date adventurous girls. What's the most spontaneous thing you've ever done?" This shift is powerful because it repositions the dynamic. Instead of you being on the defensive, you become the selector. She's no longer the one holding the cards, you are. And this taps into a deep psychological trigger. When a woman feels that she needs to earn your approval, she naturally becomes more attracted to you. Why? Because people inherently value what they have to work for. It's basic human psychology. By evaluating her, you're subtly suggesting that not everyone makes the cut, and she'll want to prove that she does. What's even better is that this method aligns perfectly with Stoic philosophy. The Stoics believed in focusing only on what you can control. You can't control her comment or her perception of your age, but you can absolutely control your reaction. By agreeing, exaggerating, and evaluating, you are demonstrating that your inner state is not swayed by external circumstances. You are the master of your emotions, and that is immensely attractive. As Epictetus said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." When you show her that you remain unshaken by her test, you prove that you are a high-value man. Another advantage of this approach is that it subtly sets you apart from younger guys. Many young men might get defensive or try to prove their worth through achievements or physical appearance. But when you handle the situation with humor and poise, you show her the maturity and wisdom that only come with experience. You become the rare combination of confidence and playfulness, something that many women crave but rarely find. To bring this all together, let's imagine a real-life scenario. You're on a date with a beautiful younger woman. Things are going well, and out of nowhere she drops the line, "Aren't you a bit too old for me?" Instead of freezing or fumbling for a response, you look her straight in the eye, smirk, and say, "Yeah, I'm old. I'm so old that my first car ran on dinosaur power." She laughs, the tension melts away, and before she knows it, you're the one asking her if she's mature enough to keep up with you. You've taken what most guys see as a negative and turned it into a massive win. By mastering this three-step formula, agree, exaggerate, and evaluate, you not only handle the "you're too old" comment with ease, but also create a dynamic where she feels compelled to chase your approval. You move from a position of defense to a position of power, and that shift makes all the difference. It's not about denying your age or trying to hide it. It's about embracing it with a confidence that most men simply don't have. And that, my friend, is how you turn a so-called disadvantage into an irresistible advantage. By now, you've learned how to handle the "you're too old" comment with confidence, humor, and poise. But what if I told you there's a way to prevent this objection from even coming up in the first place? Imagine never having to deal with that awkward moment at all. Well, this is where a powerful technique called pre-selection demonstration of high value, DHV, comes into play. When used correctly, this little trick can set the stage in such a way that age never even becomes a topic of conversation. So, what exactly is pre-selection DHV? It's simple. This technique involves subtly showcasing that you've already dated younger women in the past, without coming off as bragging or desperate. The goal is to plant the seed in her mind that dating someone of her age is completely normal for you. When done right, it eliminates any age-related objections before they have the chance to surface. Here's how to apply it. Let's say you're chatting with a younger woman, and the conversation naturally drifts to travel or culture. You might say something like, "Oh, you're from Brazil? That's amazing. My ex was Brazilian too. She was around your age, maybe a year or two younger. Such a great girl. We had a blast exploring Rio together." Notice how this sentence is casual, not forced. You're not explicitly stating, "I date younger women," but you're still delivering that message. It creates an image in her mind of you as a man who not only attracts but also maintains relationships with younger women. Why does this work so well? It's all about social proof. People tend to value what others value. When a woman hears that younger women in her age group have already shown interest in you, it taps into a deep-seated psychological trigger. If they found you attractive, maybe she should too. It's a bit like seeing a crowded restaurant and immediately assuming the food must be good. When you demonstrate pre-selection, you become that crowded restaurant in the dating world. This approach also aligns perfectly with Stoic philosophy. Marcus Aurelius once said, "The best revenge is not to be like your enemy." Instead of trying to counteract age-related objections directly, you sidestep them altogether with strategic storytelling. You remain calm, confident, and unbothered, qualities that embody the essence of Stoicism. One of the best parts of using pre-selection DHV is that it keeps the interaction light and fun. You're not trying to convince her of anything. Instead, you're simply sharing a story, maintaining a relaxed demeanor, and letting her draw her own conclusions. When age is no longer an issue, you shift the focus back to what really matters, building a genuine connection and enjoying each other's company. So, the next time you find yourself chatting with a younger woman, remember this technique. By setting the frame early on, you can steer the conversation away from any potential roadblocks and ensure the interaction flows smoothly. And when you master this, you'll find that the "you old" comment rarely, if ever, comes up. Instead, you'll be too busy having fun and enjoying the attraction you've naturally created. So let's wrap this up. When a woman says, "You're too old," It's not a death sentence for your chances with her. Far from it. In fact, with the right mindset and approach, this can become a powerful advantage. By mastering the agree, exaggerate, evaluate formula, you can turn an awkward moment into an opportunity to build attraction. You're no longer reacting to her comment, you're leading the conversation, showcasing your confidence, and positioning yourself as the high-value man that you are. Remember, the goal isn't just to handle the situation, but to thrive in it. As the Stoics often taught, the obstacle is the way. When you embrace your age instead of shying away from it, you demonstrate emotional stability and maturity, two traits that are incredibly attractive. And when you pair this with the pre-selection DHV technique, you not only handle objections gracefully, but also prevent them from arising in the first place. Now, before you go, I want to hear from you. Have you ever had a woman bring up your age in a conversation? If yes, comment yes. If not, drop a no. And if you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and check out my next video where I share exactly what to say when a younger woman asks, "How old are you?" Trust me, you don't want to miss it. The truth is, age is just a number, but confidence? That's timeless. So go out there, own who you are, and let your actions speak louder than any number ever could.